share too.
Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Morning Sports Podcast. I am BA along with Jack Hirsch and Keith Engel. I hope that you gentlemen are doing fine this Sunday morning. And good morning, Danny. As always, thank you for joining the show.
And he's up early today. Bad news for me.
Thank you for acknowledging our one viewer watching. Good.
There you go.
Thank you,
Hey,
Brian.
one viewer is a viewer.
He's the one who commented that, Jack. That's all. There's
right. Stop doing that, Jack. Anyway.
Can I make a request? Danny,
my standards are maybe a little too high. I don't know.
Jack's gonna hate this the way I start the show, but for Danny's, because Danny and I have this running argument over ABS. So can you change the opening there? So there are all these exciting scenes, and you put our pictures up, right? Can you change mine to an ABS challenge? That'd be the home run. Because that's exciting.
We will definitely get into the ABS thing a little later here. But we're going to start off, of course, with March Madness. There was a couple great games yesterday for the Final Four to get into the Final Four. Illinois, Iowa, Arizona, and Purdue. Illinois beats Iowa 71-59 in a Big Ten outing. Man, Illinois is looking really good. They outscored the Hawkeyes 24-2 in the paint in the second half. They just took control of the game because Iowa's pretty much in this game. They had that slow pace that they usually have, so
that's good.
It slowed down Illy.
Well, they got a great start, Iowa, and it looked like they were setting the tempo, but then, like as you mentioned, underneath. Eventually, Illinois wore them down.
16 offensive rebounds for Illinois, big key in this game, I think. And their defense has stepped up, too. I talked a lot about how great their offense, one of the best offenses efficiency-wise in the country, but the defense is what's really impressed me here, these last few games especially. And congratulations to Brad Underwood and the Illini. First time since 2005 in the Final Four. Great job.
Yeah, the half-court game was the key with both the teams. Well, there's only 6 fast break points in between both of them in this whole game, and it was a really good game. In Iowa, before the half made that push, Illinois just came out and just said, you know what, I'm tired of this. We're taking this game. But yeah, it was a really good game.
The only bad part about the game was the 11-minute delay for the horn malfunction, which if I was in that stadium, I don't know if I could have stayed. I would have had to leave.
What's going on with the horn malfunctions in basketball? Pistons had one, the other.
When you said great games, I was going to say something, but I decided to leave it alone. The outcomes were never seriously in doubt. You got the feeling if it was best 4 out of 7, not one and done the way the NCAA double tournament is. Illinois, there's an excellent chance they would have swept Iowa, won 4-1 at the very least, and the same the next game. We're going to be talking to with Arizona and Purdue.
Well, both these teams were games until
clearly won. It wasn't just that they played better. They're just flat out better teams. I mean, you could make an argument St. John's and Duke, if it was best of 7, maybe would be 4-3. That Duke, even though more likely than not, is a little marginally better team than St. John's, you can make an argument, that St. John's would be good enough to beat them if it was more than one and done, but not in the case of the two games last night.
The games were close until late. Both of them. Well, Arizona pulled away a little sooner, I think, than Illinois.
Because Iowa got off to that big lead to start. What did they get up, a 12-2 lead early? Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
So that gave them kind of like a cushion, so when Illinois then bit into the lead and then, wore them down, as we said.
Well, it would just look at. I like to watch games that are well played and good, well coached. And Brad Underwood is an underrated coach. And I'll give you a hot take right now. If Bill Self leaves because of health reasons in Kansas, Brad Underwood will be the next coach at Kansas. Take it to the bank. There's your hot take for this morning.
So let me get this straight. So one team advances to the Final Four. So the coach wants to leave to go elsewhere for another program that didn't do as well, even though the university he's at might extend them and give him the same money.
Happens all the time.
It happens all the time, exactly. I'm being a little sarcastic about these coaches.
Yeah.
Some of the glamour moves they make. But, this is yesterday's results, guys, were great for college basketball because it's been forever since Illinois and Arizona had made it to a Final Four. Great for college basketball.
I wasn't surprised about Illinois' time because they're not known as a basketball school. They've had some very good years through the decades, but not great, lasting success. But Arizona, I was surprised it had been since 2001 since they'd been to the Final Four. The great Lute Olson, that time they've had some great years and never made it. So, congrats to them and Tommy Lloyd too, another guy whose name Jack you just talked about guys moving around. Tommy Lloyd's going to be wooed by North Carolina, guaranteed. So nobody, and the coaches too. Will Wade just went to LSU. Not to get off topic here a little bit, but. Will Wade just went to LSU, and he's the villain again. And these coaches complain about all the player movement, but they have no restrictions on movement except paying off big payouts, and that's nothing to these schools anymore. So the coaches got to stop complaining about the player movement if they're not going to restrict themselves.
I mean, the funniest was, in the 1980s when Herschel Walker left the University of Georgia to sign with the New Jersey Generals. And he was given about $5 million by Donald Trump to come, who was the owner of the Generals at the time, to come there. And that was enormous money, $5 million. That was life altering then. Vince Dooley says, I feel sorry for that boy not getting his college education because he left school early. Come on.
Every kid's going to take that money, especially in 1980. $5 million was like, probably $30 million today.
Mm-hmm. And on to the other game of the day yesterday, Arizona beating Purdue 79-64. They were down 38-31 at halftime. And the 40-22 advantage in the paint really helped Arizona out in that game. They just there were another one. It's kind of like these teams that are number one seed wait until the second half to really establish their dominance. I've noticed that with Michigan, Arizona, and Illinois, they've all done that in this tournament.
Guys,
kind of weird, but
we've talked about this before. Purdue was the team that was in the tough games before playing Arizona, and Arizona was kind of cruising in, the tournament so far, cruising during their games. And I think the sharpness of being in the tough games helped Purdue early on in the first half. And Arizona kind of needed a wake-up call to realize they were in a game that they could actually lose. And then they picked the tempo up, and then they pulled away, and there was no doubt about it.
That's fair. Arizona's hard because you can't just stop one guy or two guys because they're very balanced scoring attack. And unlike some of these other teams, if you can shut one or two players down, you're going to have a much better chance to win. With Arizona, they come at you from everywhere, and everybody can help you. Purdue did get off to a good start, as you said. And I thought they were going to match up well because Arizona's really good inside, as you said, Brian. And Purdue's got some big men. They got two big men. They play together a lot of times. They both look like they're about 40 years old, by the way, which is kind of interesting. But yesterday, they wore down, and Arizona just took control of this game in the second half.
Foul trouble got to them early too. That was the other thing.
Yeah. And their bench, I think only 4 points off the bench. A lot of minutes off the bench for Purdue, but not a lot of production, which is not good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was their downfall right there as well. Looking forward to the next couple of games today. Michigan and Tennessee and Duke and UConn. We'll do Duke and UConn first because that seems to be the most intriguing game of the two. Duke, man, they came up big against – I'm telling you that Caleb Brown being back in the lineup, I think, has done a lot of wonders for Duke's lineup.
Foster, yeah. 100%. I said Friday.
Yeah, Foster. I
said he was a key to the game. I didn't think he played he'd be that healthy, and he was very healthy. He played very
dynamic.
And I think St. John's wins that game if he doesn't play and play that well. So, now I think Duke is the best team in this tournament with him. If he's close to 100% and stays that way, Duke is a much different team, as you saw yesterday with him, or Friday with him on the court.
I don't like the way the NCAA does the matchups, the brackets, and the whole thing. I wish they'd go to straight seeding. Straight seeding, the number one team plays the lowest rated seed, and as the teams advance in the tournament, the highest rated plays the lowest seeded left. This way you kind of avoid these, classic matchups like Duke and Connecticut. One of them is not going to the Final Four now. And if there was seeding, they could meet in the Final Four and conceivably the finals even.
Well, there's multiple reasons that could never happen is because of travel. These guys would have to leave after the first round to go play somebody else, potentially somewhere else in the second round. And probably more importantly, the bracket is what really matters. The bracket sells this tournament to people who don't even care about college basketball. And if you destroy the integrity of the bracket, then this tournament
what does it mean now? That St. John's is the Big East champions? Duke is the Big East champions? Connecticut is the Big East champions? Who cares at this point?
I didn't say anything about Big East. I didn't say anything about tournament champions. I just said the integrity of the bracket itself, the way they set up brackets and follow that bracket through the tournament. That is a big drawing point for the viewers, especially casual viewers, which, by the way, matter a lot to all these sports. People who don't watch the sports normally, and the brackets.
First of all, Jack, you're going to eventually run into this situation anyway. And you're running into the situation at the right time. Duke playing UConn is the perfect time to, for a Final Four bid.
Yes.
It's the best team. It's whoever's going to win out of that bracket. That's just how the NCAA guys set up. So, I mean, I think that they do try to do the best they can with matchups. The best they can with matchups.
The best they can,
as
but
possibly can.
It opens the door for a weaker team to get matched with a superior team and have a chance to win it all. Because today, either Duke or Connecticut is going to be out of the picture at the end of the day. And someone can cash in whoever, plays the winner.
Carlos really thinks
who's playing the winner.
Perfect brackets, by the way. There's never been
bracket. I think he's being sarcastic when he says that.
I hope
that's the whole point. Yeah, to Jack's point of you should find this and we should do this to the bracket. I mean, I think it would probably be a little bit more uncompetitive if you did it the way that you're talking about, Jack. And this way, all surprises. I don't think has anybody ever had a perfect bracket?
Never happened. It's like 10 times you're 10 times less likely to have a perfect bracket than hit the Powerball. So it's like ridiculous. There's only, of all the brackets that are tracked, right? And there's 140 million or something. I don't know. An eighth grader is the only guy who had all the Sweet 16 picked correctly. So there you go. It doesn't happen.
Leave it to an eighth grader. So who do we got in this Duke and UConn match? matchup here.
It's a great matchup. Again, with Caleb Foster back, I really like Duke here. He makes Boozer that much better. I mean, he played great even with him out, but he doesn't have to carry as much of the load, especially handling the basketball. I like Duke here, but I'm not going to count UConn out because there's very few teams in this tournament, especially left, that have two senior leaders like UConn has, and you can't discount that either. K-Bon has hit some big shots the other night against St. John's and a couple of big rebounds. I like both these teams and I like both these coaches, but I think Duke pulls this game out.
I mean, Foster's still hurt. He's still impaired. He's still not at his best. But you make a good point. He can, at the very least, handle the ball, and it allows Boozer a little more freedom, to go to the basket more. That he doesn't have to play point guard. So it bothers me the way UConn finished the season. I still can't get over them losing to Marquette, and I still can't get over their poor effort, in the Big East tournament against St. John's. They never even took a run at St. John's in that game. I mean, they got it to 7 points, down to 7 points a couple of times, fell back. I just didn't like what I was seeing in a couple of games. But, of course, come tournament time, they've answered the bell so far. They've won 3 games. It's hard to pick against Duke in this matchup. I mean, is it going to be a close game? Yeah, it's going to be a close game. But it's hard to pick against Duke.
Yeah, and Dash, I mean, I'm with you with the Duke thing because I'm not a big Duke fan, but they are good. They are good. You got to give them their props. They are one of the best teams in the country. And he's a UNC fan, so go figure. It's kind of like Sonia and her UNC hatred too. So whatever, it works both ways, I guess.
Just don't bet money if that's the way you think, because if you bet against teams just because you hate them, you're going to lose a lot of money. I can tell you right now.
See, the hate right there. They suck. Duke and UConn, I think I'm with you on this one, Keith. I think Duke will take it just because Caleb Foster's back. He just adds something special to that team. I mean, they played a whole lot different. And St. John probably could have won that game if Caleb wasn't in it. I'm going to tell you right now. He just added a different element.
Yeah, and they just can't put the ball in the basket. Not the 3-pointers. They shot St. John's was terrible for 3 points. Even their best 3-point shot, shooter only took one shot. One 3-point shot the other night. You can't.
And he made it.
Something about this.
At the end, crazy.
Something about the Duke team. They never get rattled. I mean, when they fell down by 10 points against St. John's in the second half, it wasn't panic time. There's a certain poise. You've seen it throughout the season. They don't get rattled. They fall behind. You can even tell when they're meeting in the huddle how calm they are.
Good coaching. That's what that is. That's really good coaching
for sure.
Yeah. John Shire, good coach.
And then the next game after that is Michigan and Tennessee. Who do you got in this one?
Michigan's done a great job rallying, the whole team rallying after Kason went out, their best player. Everybody thought that was going to be a death knell for Michigan, and they played really good basketball without him, maybe some of their best basketball without him. And again, a team I think that is very balanced as far as spreading the scoring around. You can't stop one guy. Dusty May's done a great job. I'd love to see Tennessee get a chance. This is their 3rd straight trip to the Elite Eight. Rick Barnes has been here a few other times and never really gotten. He's been in the Final Four once with Texas. But Tennessee's played really well and puts the ball in the basket, which is strange for them. They always have good defensive teams and have trouble scoring. They've played really well, but I think Michigan's going to have too much for them here today. In Michigan, you're going to get 2 number 1s seeds moving on today. I
mean, that's what I was talking about a little while ago. The loser the Duke-UConn game, I think, would beat both Michigan and Tennessee if there was a certain seeding, change the way things were done. But maybe it's not realistic what I'm talking about. Michigan strikes me as a weak number 1 seed. They just, they don't strike me as a strong, truly strong number one seed. I mean, I'm going to go with Tennessee.
They only won 33 games this year, Jack.
Yeah, I know, but have they really been dominant? You can point to the win total, but have they really been dominant?
You must have not saw Michigan at the beginning of the season, and then when they went through a lull, they went back to what they were doing before, just destroying teams. They were beating teams by 30 to 40 points. They were the highest scoring team in the NCAA at one point.
Right, and a tremendous record I think the strongest league in the country, the Big Ten this year. And I think you pointed out a couple times, Brian, the results of this tournament proved how deep the Big Ten is. This is a really good basketball team and a really good coach. There's a job I wouldn't be leaving if I'm Dusty May. Dusty May's name keeps coming up for jobs other than North Carolina, maybe a consider because of history, or even Kansas. But there's other jobs I've seen Dusty May's name come up for. I'm like, why would you leave Michigan for that?
Wait. We don't want to insult Brian, who's a Michigan guy, who resides there. But
I didn't.
Geography is appealing to these coaches and their families to pick up sometimes and live elsewhere. I mean, no one ever factors that in. I mean, we're just talking about the university itself and the amount of money they're getting paid. If they could get similar money to live in a warmer climate place, for example, a different type city that families near, etc., that makes all the difference a lot of the time.
Resources are all that matter to these guys today. If I got money to spend in the NIL and you're going to support the program, he's probably going to go to the better one there. Weather, nobody cares about weather. You can spend the off season in the weather.
Right. You can transfer and move to, be in a warm weather situation, playing for a cold weather, coaching a cold weather team too. It's whatever. I mean, it'd be nice if he stays. That would be great.
I like he's a really good coach, by the way. And Dash, I hope Dash does subscribe, but we need to explain to Dash that every team you hate doesn't suck. I don't like a lot of teams. They don't all suck, though.
Listen, I mean, really years ago after the Yankees had won 4 out of 5 World Series, I went to a game at Citi Field, a Met game, but I have on my Yankee thing, and someone just remarked to me, the Yankees suck. And I'm thinking they won 4 out of the last 5 years. They won 4 World Series.
Right?
I mean, this is what you're listening to.
I get
you. You can hate them, but you got to respect the wins and the victories and
now
stuff.
Now I wear my jet jacket and they say it, I actually nod my head. So we don't get into no arguments.
Now, I would ask Dash to put his teams up, though. People do that, and then they don't tell us who they like. He
likes UNC. He did put up UNC.
Oh, he did put it up there? Okay.
Yeah, he put it up there. So, to be fair. All right. So, we'll move on from the NCAA. Oh, by the way, just to let you know that
when did
NCAA
UNC lose, by the way? UNC lost the first round, didn't they? Sorry, I can't get off this whole thing. UNC lost in the first round.
Yes.
I watched a little of the women's NCAA tournament. I can't get the same emotions up for their tournament as the men. I got to be honest about it. My interest at most is mild, and that's being complimentary. And no put down for the women. Perhaps if they played at another time when the men weren't playing, they'd be better off. They'd have a little more of the spotlight on them. But how do you go against the men, even though the game's on the same time? People just aren't into it.
The part of that's a big part of the reason. I think you're right, Jack, is the timing. They do move. They will now play the rest of their games not up against NCAA the men's games. Like the Elite Eight, I think, is played during the week this week. But another factor, I think that tournament's way too predictable. It's South Carolina is going to play UConn in the semifinals, and we know that. There's very little. You watch these early round games, and they're all 50, 40-point games, and it's way too predictable.
Keith, Syracuse. I forgot who they were playing, so I don't want to say. But I tuned into the game while it's at progress, and the score's 55-8. And at first, I think I'm looking at it the wrong way, and I'm saying, okay, that's 5:58 left on the clock, but where's the score?
Just go home.
And I'm looking around for the score, and then I realize it's 55-8. That's criminal.
And the coaches,
criminal to have a game like that.
The coaches, they played UConn that day. That was UConn, and the coach was bitching after the game that she had to go play in Storrs, Connecticut, or or in Connecticut someplace. Stop. Your team's getting beat by 50. I don't care where you're playing. You're not winning the game. So.
Has there ever been a mercy rule in basketball? Is there such a thing in the books that I'm not aware of?
And maybe in like CYO, but nowhere else.
So if the score was ever like 102-4,
we see.
Imagine a coach pull their players off the floor. What would be the implications?
We have seen games like that in women's basketball, I think, more than men's. Some ridiculous scores like that. And,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Less parity. South Carolina, I mean, they started out the tournament blowing out the team that they played by 70-something points.
Yeah.
They had 107 and 34 or something like that. I was like, wow, okay.
I'm a little surprised they set up these brackets so that South Carolina and Duke would meet in the semis and not in the finals, because they're the best two teams in the country. UCLA's really good, don't get me wrong. Duke's really good. They play in the Elite Eight, I think. But South Carolina and Connecticut are the best two teams by far, I think.
Well, I mean, these are the games that are going on that will be played today. You got UConn going against Notre Dame, UCLA versus Duke. On Monday, South Carolina will be playing TCU, and on Monday, Michigan and Texas will be playing. So it's going to be. I mean, I'm kind of like you, Jack. I don't really follow women's college basketball like that. The only time I really follow it is like when it gets down to like the Elite Eight, Final Four, because that's when the teams that are most matter are in it. That's when you get to see the good games. Although LSU did get eliminated by Duke, so that's part of it. That's one of the surprises in the tournament.
I got bashed a lot a couple of years ago when the NCAA women's tournament was doing really well in the ratings. They had packed stadiums because Caitlin Clark was playing, and she was a national phenom, right? And it was a national story. And I said, I'm sorry, once she goes away, so are those viewers. And that's what's happened here. I got chastised for it because I hate women, apparently. I mean, I can't believe some of the things that people would say to me, but whatever. And that's what's happened, though. There's just not the same. You don't have stories. Nobody knows who's playing. Caitlin Clark's gone. Who's the best player in the country on the women's side? I don't know. People who follow it, I'm sure do, but everybody knew Caitlin Clark, and that's why that one tournament was an aberration. And they did draw. Some of those games had better ratings than the men's games, but she played in all of them.
Pat Summitt passed away a while ago, so why? Yeah,
a while ago, yeah.
Well, it's a Tennessee thing, yeah. I guess I don't know. By the way, at the bottom there, if you got your book handy there, Jack, make sure that you go ahead and get his book there.
Yeah, quick plug. My new book out, Michael Jinx Spinks. You can get it on the websites, Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Eventually, we'll make its way into the bookstores. But for now, you have to order it online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I'm going to say, I could say it's a great book, but I'd be biased.
I am almost done. I'll be done with this book today, and it is a very, 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 very good book, Jack. Well done.
I took it the wrong way before. When you said you were done with it, I thought in another way.
Yes,
fashion. Well, I understand now. My apologies.
Just got to be the comedy hero in this.
If I read a book, I don't see my name in the acknowledgments. I stop reading it. That's No, it's a great book, Jack. You did a great job in all seriousness.
Yeah, you sure did. All right, moving on to some baseball. It looks like the Yankees are starting off good. They're 3-0, and that's a good thing for them. Getting off rearing to this. And what about your Mets there, Jack?
Well, no, I'm not a Mets fan. I'm a Yankee fan. But let me tell you
but
something
you follow the Mets.
Yankees beating the Giants in 3 straight, and the Giants only scoring 1 run in 3 games. Keith Engel was exposed. He was completely exposed because we do have predictions before the year. Keith Engel saying he's looking for big things for the Giants because they hired a college coach to be their manager. And he thought that was the greatest thing, hiring someone out of college. You know, Keith should know that from the NFL. It usually doesn't work out. These college hotshots who come to the NFL usually don't work out. So why should they work out in baseball? Even the great Nick Saban, okay?
Pat Murphy was a college coach for 14 years. He did a pretty good job in Milwaukee. Didn't come straight there. He's been in the majors for a while, in all fairness. But I just have one question in rebuttal to that. Remind me how many games they play in Major League Baseball?
Well, 162. Carlos, I'm going to get Mike Spinks to sign some books, and then maybe you get in touch with me in a couple of weeks, and I'll try to work something out where we could get, you can mail me the book, and I could mail it back or something like that.
So again, listen, the Giants or whatever, the Yankees hot start, the Giants slow start, Pirates slow, whoever. It's 162 games. If the Giants played these 3 games in middle of July and they scored 3 runs over 3 games, nobody would have even noticed. But you notice it because it's the first 3 games of the season. So let's just relax.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you got 162 to go.
I mean, good for the Yankees.
We don't need these. Listen, people can private message me, Brian. We don't need it. We don't need a dialogue going on. Okay.
No, we still got 30 minutes left, Jack. We can.
Yeah. No, I mean a dialogue. With my book. With the written things.
We can set up all these.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, he's a fan, Jack. Let your fans be known. Anyway, yeah. So one of the big things about the where are we at here? Okay. Hold on just a moment here. One of the things that were umpire Buckner gets 6 calls overturning the ABS in a Red Sox-Reds game. So I guess Garcia was right about that whole situation, saying that it's going to embarrass the umps, and he got embarrassed in that game. That's for sure. 6 of them overturned.
You don't want to be embarrassed, but I'll say this: Aaron Judge, the second game of the season, he appealed a strike call, and it was overturned. It was barely. But if you see the pitch, you can understand why the umpire called it a strike. But it was considered low by the littlest of margins, and he hits a home run right after that same at bat.
And you're going to here's what you're going to hear on those types of pitches. A pitch is off the strike zone by 1/100th of an inch, and they're going to say, what a great eye Judge has, or whoever has. And all he did was guess right. That's all he did. So I'm not overcoming egregious, really bad whatever plays. I get it, but this thing is. Again, the umpires brought this on themselves. Garcia worried about being embarrassed is because these guys have done such a bad job, and that's why this is here. But there are consequences.
But it gets them off the hook, and no one could be mad at the umpires. The call gets overturned, so what's the big deal?
What's the big deal? I'll tell you what the big deal is. And I brought this up to Danny last night, and he thinks it's no big deal. Game 7 of the World Series, it's a 1-run game. The bases are loaded. There's 2 outs, 3-2 strike in the bottom of the 9th. And the guy punches a guy out. We can't celebrate because we got a challenge left, and we got to watch a cartoon movie on the big screen to see how the World Series ends. That's exciting. Danny thinks that's
it'll be exciting. It will be exciting in the sense that everyone is waiting for the decision on the review.
How is that exciting? When in the past, strike 3, boom, everybody runs, jumps on each other. We can't do that now because we have to wait for this.
I have a feeling
in baseball, awful.
Keith, I think you complained when security wouldn't allow the fans to run on the field after the team wins the World Series.
No, that's not true.
Tear the field up, and the players' safety is at stake.
Get the call correct at all. I get it. I want the calls to be correct too. Both things can happen. We can make the umpires better and not lose the excitement of baseball with 7 challenges in a game. By the way, Brian, if an umpire is really bad, we might have 30 challenges in a game. That's going to be exciting.
So you limited the amount of challenges you're allowed.
Not if you win them. You can have unlimited. As long as you win them, you can go on forever.
You should be allowed to.
So it's just
it's like, wait. It's like you when you go to the casinos, when you're winning, you don't want to be stopped. You keep going as long as you're winning, right? I mean, what's the same thing?
Tie gambling in the sports. That's good, Jack. I love it.
In the regular season, I probably don't care. Yes, get the calls right. I'm right. And you know what? By the way, blowing a perfect game, not a no-hitter, by the way, Carlos, because I know the Galarraga game that you're talking about. Nobody would even remember on Galarraga, and I don't remember his first name now. Nobody even remember him or his perfect game that he didn't have. If he pitched a perfect game, we would never even be talking about it. Never. But we had one of the great human moments in the history of sports when Jim Joyce and Galarraga met at home plate the next day. That would never have happened. And we would have missed out on that.
So what's the lesson? So we should glorify umpire screw-ups more than getting it correct.
That is not what I'm saying. Every time I have this argument, it gets turned around into something that I don't mean. I mean, you're taking away the immediate excitement in baseball and also great human moments like that one with Galarraga.
You get that in all sports now. You get that in the NFL. They're going to the replay.
Yeah, but you don't have like baseball and football. You can't compare like games. Again, I'm talking about the extreme example of Game 7 of the World Series. If it ends on an overturned ball or strike call, that's not anticlimactic. It's going to suck. And you will think so, too, when you see it. You will think not now.
Look at the 85 World Series with Don Deckinger, the missed call at first base.
Once again, would we ever talk about the 85 World Series if that didn't happen? No, we wouldn't. That's my argument.
Well, yeah, but your argument, we would be talking about the 85 World Series like we talk about the other World Series.
We talk about how many World Series do we actually go back and talk about?
We don't talk more about the 85 World Series than others. We talk about Deckinger's call in the 85 World Series. That's what's talked about.
Exactly.
We talk more about Jack Morris's great game, 10-inning masterpiece for the Twins in Game 7 to beat the Braves. We talk about that more as a World Series moment than the 85 World Series with the Royals coming back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Cardinals.
We never would have talked about it because that game would have ended in Game 6 and have been over, and we would never, ever bring it up again. Ever. There'd be no reason to. It'd be lost to history. Again, I don't want bad calls, but they're part of the game is my point. Human error, we're okay. When do we move this to the players? When do we move it to the players and say errors in baseball are unacceptable and we need to do something? Let's put AI out there. Let's build our own players. I know that's an extreme, but still, really, where's it end? Where is it going to end?
Yeah. I'm with you on that, Keith. Though I'm a traditionalist, so I mean, all this. You got to have and I know everybody wants to get calls right, and they love blaming the refs when they don't get it right or whatever the case may be. But to me, that's the part of the game. That makes the game more human. You're sitting up here trying to get all these calls and strikes on a computer because and everybody's challenging it because they don't feel that it was a ball or a strike. It's just making the game last longer, which you don't need. And Jack, you are a big proponent of that, making the games last longer. And it's ridiculous to me. I don't really have an opinion either. It's going to happen. It's just the way it's going now in this century. So,
by the way, so Danny's comment that every sport does it and every sport's now getting the calls correct. No, they're not. They have replay in football. They still get the calls wrong. So come on. And Major League Baseball with just the replay. Forget about ABS for a second. That's been bastardized beyond belief, right? It's put into overturn egregious calls like the Galarraga call, like home runs that are called fair, whatever. Not for when a guy's foot comes an inch off the base when he slides in on a steal or a double. That's not what the rules meant for. And now that's what we've got. We've got guys being called out because their hand or foot came out the bag for a split second. And that's not what the rule's for. I'm sorry. It's for egregious calls
If the guy's foot is off the bag, that's an
right
issue.
there,
No,
Danny. It's 8 to 10 seconds on the challenge, but how long do you have to wait in between that 8 to 10 seconds? That's the point I'm trying to make.
The pitch clock. It's more than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And if the umpires are bad, this could be 30 times in a game, as I said before, because you're going to get that many chances.
Then you wasted
a minute
of actual game time.
Talking about games lasting too long, but last year, Game 3 of the World Series that went 18 innings, Keith thought it was a beautiful thing.
I love 18-inning games. It's baseball. That's baseball. You know the great thing about baseball? It never had a clock. Now it does.
Yeah.
I don't need, but at the same time, games don't need to last 4 hours, right?
No. True. But, I mean, if it lasts 4 hours, it lasts 4 hours. I mean,
if it lasts 4 hours because it's 19 innings, okay, that's great, right?
Exactly.
Who cares? Yeah. Baseball was meant to have invisible men on third, second. Come on, Jesus Christ! I didn't understand your question, Danny. Ask me on the show at 9. I don't remember. I don't know what you're asking. I really don't know. I feel like it's a cognitive test you're giving me with that. What percentage of calls? I don't know what we're talking about.
No.
Again, for the challenge itself, yes, but how about restarting the pitch clock? Again, you got to factor all that in. I'm not saying it's going to make the games an hour longer. I'm not saying that. And that's not my major argument, by the way. It's not.
Well, just for the sake of the MLB today, we have the Kansas City Royals going to play the Atlanta Braves, the Minnesota Twins going against the Baltimore Orioles, Texas Rangers playing the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Oakland Athletics going against Toronto Blue Jays, Pittsburgh Pirates going against the New York Mets, Boston Red Sox going against Cincinnati Reds, Colorado Rockies going against Miami. Oh, that's going to be a fun game. Chicago White Sox going against the Brewers, the Angels against the Astros, the Rays against the Cardinals, Washington against the Cubs, Cleveland Guardians, I hate saying that name, against the Seattle Mariners for the final one.
You can say Indians. It's okay.
Blame tennis.
For some of us. Yeah, I say that.
Blame tennis.
That's a good one, Davey. I like that one.
All right. So going from the world of Major League Baseball, like we have enough controversy on that one.
Oh, God. Another Major League Baseball. Why are anybody off on a Sunday? Come on.
Yeah. I don't like that either.
Crazy.
Enough is going on with the NCAA tournament. It's early in the year. The weather's chilly in some places. So it's okay. The players have a tough grind all season long. They get a rare Sunday off. Let them enjoy it.
All right. Switching over to the NBA. Luka got suspended one game after receiving a 16th tech. He won't be playing against the Wizards on Monday. Ooh.
That's a huge for the Lakers.
Right? That's a huge relief for the Wizards. I don't know. But anyway, so it's a little, to Jack's point, it probably isn't the greatest news for the NBA as far as newsworthy things, but it is there. So,
are they playing at Washington? If they're playing at Washington, it's a bad thing for the league because the people who got tickets for that game, I'm sure, they got it to see Luke and LeBron. Thankfully, at least LeBron is there. But I know the feeling when I get tickets for a game to see a particular player and I look forward to it, and that player's not playing. Let's say the Jets are playing the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to see Patrick Mahomes. I want to beat him, but I want to see him play. And if Patrick Mahomes isn't playing, and I didn't mean to set myself up like this, but Justin Fields is starting for the Chiefs, who's now their backup, I kind of feel deprived.
Especially when he beats it.
Don't get 16 text in.
Especially when
How
he
about
beats
that?
it.
Yeah, but suspend them for one game in LA because the fans can see him on a regular basis there. When is he going to make his way back to Washington again? Are they playing in Washington? I'm saying if they're playing there, I'm not sure.
When's
I
that?
know with Kobe Bryant, I remember when he was suspended a game, they suspended him for the game at Madison Square Garden. And even Kobe was disappointed. He was saying, I look forward to playing at the Garden. It's always I circle it in my calendar. It's a big thing to me. And he was suspended, but you were hurting more than Kobe, the league there. You were hurting the fans coming to the Garden.
This suspension only helps to manage the load management schedule.
But where were they playing? Were they playing at Washington?
They're playing at the Staples. So they're playing in.
Okay, then it's okay. Then it's not bad. I thought if they were playing in Washington.
Jack approves.
No, but that's the way to do it. If you're suspending someone for one game, a star player, be short, in his home city. You're not depriving, the fans elsewhere who could very rarely see him play.
So you care about that, but not the Sunday baseball being off when people work all week and they want to go to a game on Sunday. You're okay with that, but this bothers you. That would bother you if Luka didn't play in Washington.
No, for the fans in Washington, a lot of them got tickets looking forward to seeing Luka play. It's that way with any star player. Look, if the Houston Rockets are playing the Nets, the fans in Brooklyn who got tickets for that game would be looking forward to a return of Kevin Durant, for example.
I understand your argument. I'm just saying, why isn't it applied to Major League Baseball fans who are deprived of Sunday baseball? You don't care about that.
You're not deprived. There's enough games on Sunday, Keith. Come on.
Not if
There's enough games you could tune to.
What if it's the only game I can go to because I got to work 6 days a week? I mean, come on. You don't.
Keith, come on. In this weather, you could go to games any Sunday all year long. So it's the beginning of the dawn
Sunday in March.
How many people feel deprived because they have to miss a baseball game in March? Come on, give me a break.
So you're okay when they don't play on the 4th of July and those days too?
They do. There's enough going on the 4th of July. Every
team doesn't play on the 4th of July anymore. I'm sorry, I got way off track here. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
I'm like a dog with a bone when I get something. I'm sorry.
No, Carlos, that won't affect his MVP run because it's not an injury. It's not a game missing to injury. It's a game missing to his.
I would hope one game wouldn't affect the guy, in the NBA guy's MVP chances. Is Luka really the MVP? I mean, he deserves consideration. I get that, and I'm not saying he necessarily not, but does he really deserve it more than SGA? Does he deserve it more than Wemby? I mean, no.
Wemby's more of a defensive MVP.
I think Wemby.
Does he deserve it more than Jaylen Brown, who, when Tatum was out, did a remarkable job at carrying the Celtics, above expectations?
Brian, you were referring to I think when you were talking about, does it affect them? You're talking about the 65 game minimum. Is that what?
Yeah. I think Carlos was asking that question. Yeah.
I don't know. I think he was just asking in general. Maybe he's not.
In general. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sorry, Carlos, if I misread your.
I didn't even know about the 65 game rule till the last couple of weeks. I didn't know they had this rule in place. It's to kind of avoid the load management and tanking and all that, right? But you said some games you missed don't count against that 65 game limit. I know.
Yeah, that would be. If it's not injury related, it doesn't count against it. So
if he misses this game, you can't have really load management in the NFL because they feel they need guys for every single game because every game is so crucial. But load management is going on in baseball all the time. They were even using it in the World Baseball Classic. They couldn't use players.
Well, that's because it's spring training partly. But load management in baseball is a little bit different because you're playing every day for, 7 months. That's a long time.
So the division, the conference goes like this so far in the Eastern Conference. The top 3 teams are the Pistons, Celtics, and the Knicks. In the West, it's the Thunder, Spurs, and the Lakers. Thunders and Spurs already clinched their. Let's see what they did. Yeah, they clinched their division. The Pistons clinched the playoff spot, so we're good on that. Today's games will feature the Clippers going against the Bucks, the Heat going against the Pacers, the Wizards going against Portland. Boston's playing the Hornets. That ought to be a good game. The Kings are playing the Nets. The Magic are playing the Raptors, and the Rockets are playing the Pelicans. And the Knicks are playing the Thunder. Another good game that's going to be on today. Golden State is going against the Nuggets. So that's your slate of games for today for the NBA. We only got, 8 or 9 games left?
Yeah, I see 8 with some teams, yeah. I can't believe we're here already.
Yeah.
3 months of playoffs on the way.
Yeah, next week we'll be talking about playoff seeding, basically.
I kind of wonder, Embiid's name came on the screen now. Is he really going to be a Sixer next year? They're finally going to move on from Embiid. He'd have a lot of value for contending teams. But would the Sixers truly shake things up and make a mega deal where they include Maxey and Embiid for, I don't know, whatever combination of players? But let's say the Timberwolves are a big disappointment in the playoffs, but they're not going to part with Anthony Edwards no matter what because he's box office. But would Gobert and Randall, for example, go to the Sixers in exchange for Embiid and maybe Edgecombe? Maxey would be too much for the Sixers to give up in that type of deal. You kind of wonder. Some team that's disappointing in the playoffs is going to make a very big, bold move. Yeah, and Giannis isn't going to be a buck next year.
Somebody.
But the question is, how much do you give up for him?
I don't know if I agree with that specific trade, Jack, but that's not really the point, right? I do think there's a very good chance the Sixers blow this up and start over. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, they're still technically. They're still battling for last place in the playoffs. So, and Minnesota's already, they're like 6th or 5th in the Western Conference. So
they're going out in the first round.
No. The Timberwolves are intriguing. The Timberwolves actually have a chance of going to the finals. I mean, everyone's looking at OKC, San Antonio, but the Timberwolves are capable of beating those teams. That's my point. I'm not saying they are. But they are capable of getting to the finals. The Sixers are not capable of getting to the finals, even if Embiid's healthy with Maxey. I mean, anything's possible. Look at Indiana last year. So I guess I shouldn't say that. But Embiid's not all of a sudden going to become a monster again before the year's out. And Maxey isn't going to start lighting it up. And then there are too many good teams there in the East.
I don't think the T-Wolves have the defense to compete with either the Spurs or the Thunder, actually.
But they have the last couple of years. They just couldn't get over the top. Maybe they finally get over the top.
They can put the ball in the basket, but I don't think
they do have the defense with. They do have the defense of Rudy Gobert. It's an excellent rim protector, rebound. If Gobert really plays up to capabilities. And Anthony Edwards can play like a mega star, and we know what Randall is.
Are you Rudy Gobert's agent? Because you managed to get
Rudy Gobert, he can have an impact. Don't get me wrong. On the defensive end, he can have a big impact.
He doesn't more often than not, though. He never plays big in big games.
Well, that's what I mean. If he shows up. Really shows up in the playoffs.
Big if.
Yeah, I agree with that, Rick.
There you go.
So, just to wrap up this show and just to put something out there, I know you guys been seeing this all week. Well, since it happened. Tiger Woods. Dude should not have a vehicle. He's had 4 accidents in the last 20 years. I don't know what's going on with this guy. And then all of them are basic related to him having some kind of drugs in his system, and it would be anxiety drugs or whatever the case may be. He takes them with other drugs, and then he gets all. Why are you driving, dude? I mean, if you're doing all this, why are you driving? I don't understand what Tiger Woods' mindset here is.
And the conversation turns to we're worried about the Masters and his Ryder Cup captaincy and all this. Forget about all that stuff. This guy needs somebody to step into his life and say, dude, you need to take a look and get some help because
it's easy to get him the help. Just take away his license for 5 to 10 years that he's not allowed to drive. I mean, we had a similar case. There's this boxer, former light heavyweight champion Bobby Ches. He had 4 DUIs. 4. After he had the 4th one, the judge didn't put him in jail, anything like that. He took away his driver's license for 20 years. Now, that's brutal when you're used to driving. If you're not used to driving, that's one thing. But for those of us who drive, and all of a sudden you're not allowed to drive. Could you imagine Tiger Woods wants to leave his home and he can't drive? He's got to get an Uber or his chauffeur, whatever. It might not sound so bad, but believe me, you want to get behind the wheel of the car and go places. Make him go into rehab and take away his license for 5 to 10 years at this point. Then if he drives a vehicle when his license is taken away, then it's the next step. Then unfortunately you have to really come down on them super hard.
Well, what about now, Jack? You know, if you or I got 2 DUIs here in New York State, you'd be going to jail, and so would I. Mm-hmm. That's the law. You know, they don't.
In Florida.
Well, I don't know what the laws are there, but you know.
Yeah, well, I'm saying you don't want Tiger Woods to actually be in jail. Take his license away. Then if he drives, you got to put him in jail if he disregards a court order like that. But just take the darn license away. That gets the point. That would be brutal for him not to be able to drive.
There's too many, and Rick had a great point. I see too many enablers and too many excuse makers out there for Tiger Woods. I'm not saying you're making excuses, Jack. You're trying to come up with a solution.
I don't want a guy in jail. Actually, yeah.
I don't know that I want him to go to jail, but he needs to get some help because he's going to kill somebody. And the cops
been lucky 4 times.
If somebody was coming the other way this time, this could be a much different story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, 2017 was his worst accident, and that was him and he walked away with a messed up leg. That's the reason why he's having so many physical issues on the golf course.
Yeah, he's lucky he wasn't killed that time.
Right. I don't understand what's going on with Tiger, but he's got to get that stuff right. Him and vehicles do not mix, obviously.
Probably. That's the sad part.
Yeah. And, whether his ex-wife bashed his car in with a bat, whatever that one was when he got caught cheating.
Thanksgiving night or something, I think that was.
Yeah. So, I would think that, you would stay away from cars at this point. And if you're having so much pain, you got to have some kind of therapy to it. Like if you got to go somewhere, call an Uber, you have enough money to go and have somebody I know it's taking away your independence, but your independence is already gone if you're taking these drugs to enhance, get the pain away from you. So I don't know what Tiger Woods is doing, but hopefully he gets better and we don't have to hear about another accident where somebody is fatally involved in it. And that would be the worst.
I agree.
But anyway, gentlemen, on that note, it's been great talking with you guys about this, other things going on. Watch the NCAA finals or the last of the Elite 8 so we can just see who the Final Four is. Duke versus UConn, Michigan versus Tennessee. Everybody have a very good rest of your Sunday. And remember, get Jack's book and check Keith out next on the Stream of Consciousness.
And Keith, use the afternoon that the Yankees are off to maybe do something away from sports, whatever it's going to be, because this will be the only Sunday off for the season. And I know you want to watch Yankee baseball, but you'll have to, bear with it for today.
Thank you, Jack.
On that note, have a great day.